Beautiful as always.
Fuck. Back, back at you. How's it going, man?
Good, and yourself?
Good, dude. This is behind me is what I call production.
Yeah, I love it. Got the logo
Yeah,
there and
yeah.
everything. Sick.
It's always at my house.
So you're not at the gig yet then?
No, Dave's gonna be here soon. It's only about from where I live. It's only about 40 minutes away.
Killer. Well, dude, lots to get
Yeah.
into. Want to get into the future shows you got coming up, look back, look forward a little bit. But we got to start off with the hard questions. Taco,
Sure.
taco versus burrito. No, I'm just kidding. Uh,
6'9".
tell me what happened with mommy and daddy. Why the divorce with Ryan Shuck? What happened there? Talk to me about that, man.
I don't know if it was much. I would characterize it as a divorce. You know what I mean? In our eyes, it was just kind of like, and Ryan. I'll start off by saying we wish Ryan and Amir the best for sure. It's nothing like that. It was just kind of like, yeah, there's maybe a kind of a divergence of you know, you know, and I don't. And he can say whatever he wants to say. Of just kind of like things like our. We knew from the beginning. Let's say that he was in another band and that he was going to, that he was helping us out, and that we needed somebody in the band that, including Amir, to be around. And for people who don't know, Amir is with in Orgy with Ryan. They've been partners for years, and they don't just do music together. They do. It's kind of definitely a package thing, but it just came to a point where, and we knew it wasn't going to, even in his own words, he goes, he knew that it was going to be, it was somehow temporary. You know what I mean? So
Hmm.
from the beginning, we just didn't know how temporary. And so it just came down to, our band was heading in one direction as far as how we wanted to do what we're going to do, like massive amounts of touring, get these new songs out, and take advantage of what our band's about. And then his band was doing his thing, and and so it just was one. It really was one of those things where you just, do we do this now, or do we do it 6 months from now? Do we do it 2 years from now? And so it's just pretty much we're doing it now. Yeah.
Huh. Okay. So I mean, it's a bummer, man, because I was just starting to fall in love with him in that position and all those new tunes that you guys were putting out with him, and Ready to Die and Violent Principles and all that. Now, you had mentioned new music. Is that stuff going to be included in the new music, or going to?
Uh, Not really. I mean, we've been writing music, like for years now, and so and had a bunch and have a bunch of music. But also as logistics of kind of putting it out, we, as soon as we parted ways with Ryan, we signed a record deal, and so we're on a timeline to do a record and get it done by like any other record deal to get it out there. And so, we've been sitting on a lot of music. And so now, we kind of focused on the timing of the Ryan thing. We're focused on the tour that we just did. And then now that we're back, we're doing some one-off shows like tonight, like in House of Blues next month. But uh, mostly what we're doing is concentrated on just getting this record done and making sure it's the best thing we can do. Yeah.
And well, and then that goes back to, is it all new writing? I mean, I remember a couple of the live streams you guys were doing like during the pandemic and sitting at home, and you guys were working on music then even, and they were all kind of
Yeah.
fun titles, that working titles. And the one that's always stuck in my head and the one I'll never forget is Banana Hammock. And I'm curious,
Yeah.
Banana Hammock gonna be included on
We
the
have some good ones. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So most of them not mentionable to people, but there's one like Rhino Dick was one. I can say that one probably. So no, we do have great working titles. There's no doubt, but and they usually kind of obviously so we can know what we're looking at. But a lot of times they have to, like Rhino Dick sounds like the music sounds like a rhinoceros with a huge dick running, just coming at you. So
Sure.
that's kind of where that stuff happens. But yeah, so yeah, but like I said, we've been writing music and doing that stuff. But it's also juggling the touring and all that stuff as well, and just getting out there. And as I'm sure you know, the last few years there's been a resurgence of new metal,
Sure.
and people remembering like, oh, that's right, we did like that. And so it's balancing going out and playing for those people that want to see you play. Yeah.
Speaking of the new music, the one thing that is interesting with the new configuration, five becoming four, And one thing that used to happen all the time back in the day, and then you guys kind of got away from it, going even back to the Unstable tour. I remember seeing you guys with Godsmack at the Universal Amphitheater back in the day, and Mikey doing some backup singing at that time. And then when Ryan came in, it was your job to do the backup. And now with Ryan out, now it's back to Mikey doing some backups.
Yeah, that's awesome. And it's funny when you know we went back to this kind of thing. I did go back, and you talk about Unstable. I think I went back and watched us doing Unstable on like Jimmy Kimmel, you
Mhm.
know, and where Mikey was doing backups, and you know, and you know, Mike is just one of those people that's just like, you know, he's always striving for perfection and always tinkering and fixing and stuff. And so it's fun to have conversations with him. And then, you know, he's videoing everything and he's going, you know, and then he's always, should I do this here? Does this work? You know, because I used to sing. And so he, you know, he refers to me on those things. And you try to do exactly what the record is, but, you know, but at the same time, you're like trying to do what's best for the live thing. And so, you know, like this tour was actually like an experiment in that. So where, you know, you go back and he go, oh, I might not do it this way. Or then he gets excited. And that's part of doing this stuff. You know, come to me and go, I watched the video from last night. We nailed it. You know, I mean, it's right. I think it's where we need to be. You know what I mean? So that's cool. And he's more than capable of doing it. He's doing it forever.
Yeah.
So
And
yeah,
new voice and sound to kind of experiment with this new material.
yeah. What's that?
I said, and his voice can kind of be a new thing to experiment with.
Oh no, that's totally that's you're absolutely right. And that's, you know, there's a lot of times when you're singing or somebody else is singing, they kind of do all their own backups on the record. You know, I don't want to do it that way. Like I like his voice. I like how it's different than mine. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And so, and Dave does his thing. Dave's over there, you know, Cookie Monster and the shit or whatever. You know, that's what he does. But you know, he's good at that stuff. You know, so and I think it's a cool thing. I think as long as it's like we always say, as long as it's service in the song, then it's cool. Yeah.
And we're thinking next year for the album at this point.
Yeah, we're trying to get it done by the end of the year. You know, and so, well, I mean, we're gonna get it done for the end of the year. You know what I mean? That's the thing. What happens with us is, you know, we've done a lot of independent stuff, and you know, we're the kind of people like if you give us a date or something, then we can do that. You know, we've always been able to do that. We somehow become organized and become the best pre-production band in history. You know what I mean? But then when it's just up to us, we're like, all right, okay, next week, well, 2 weeks. You know, that's what that tends to happen. And I think that's probably most people do that, but it's just like that's what we, you know. So now we're actually excited to have like an actual deadline. You know, so
Kind of like homework. You got to get it done by this date.
kind of like, yeah, kind of like that. But like I said, it's just that's the kind of people you don't want normal people in a band because that would be boring. But you know, that have normal that habits and can actually function all the time. But when it comes to that, you definitely want, you know, you kind of want to be told like, hey, we got to get this done, you know? So yeah, we're capable of that, I guess is what I'm saying.
And can we talk about the label or who's producing it, self-producing?
Well, I mean, it hasn't been officially announced. And, you know, I said something on a radio interview like last week that went up on Blabbermouth in like 4 minutes. I mean, I don't think it's that big a secret. I mean, it's Cleopatra, and
Okay.
I mean, it's the first time I'm announced it, so I'm sure that will be announced. We'll see if they're cool with that or not, but I'm sure they're fine with it. But so it's Cleopatra, and you know, and speaking of Mikey, we've always kind of helped produce records. The band produced you know, like the Planets album, you know what I mean? And so with some help from you always want somebody arbitrary in there, you know, whether it's an engineer or somebody, you know what I mean? But you know, this time around it's gonna be Mike. You know, Mike expressed interest in doing it. And Mikey is one of those guys, and too, you know, like I talked about, he's always tinkering, always that. I mean, this guy is always on the cutting edge of recording trends, software,
Music.
whatever it is. Yeah, I mean, literally, I can send Mike. I'm the opposite, so I'll send Mike a riff on a like a phone recording, like a voice recording, and then I'll get it back, and it'll somehow have drums, bass, loops. It's like sounds like a song. You know, I'm like, oh yeah, that's what I was thinking, Mike. You know what I mean? So he's more than capable of doing that stuff, and of course he's not going to be over here like he's, you know, like the iron fist going, it's my way or the highway.
Right.
He's just going to be the one that's steering the ship when it comes to producing and all that stuff. Yeah.
Great.
And he also likes doing the thing like the logistics of getting the studio and finding who's gonna engineer it, who's gonna master it, all that stuff. That's what Mikey's into this.
Very meticulous.
Yeah, yeah.
And great that Cleopatra Records too. I mean, it's a local Southern California label, LA based label, so that I'm sure helps too.
It's killer for sure. Yeah, we're absolutely excited, about that. You know what I mean? So we weren't gonna go do like a we weren't going to ask, and this is not directed to anyone, but we weren't going to do because people have to do it or sometimes do it. We're just not that kind of band that wants to kind of like crowdfund it or anything like that. We're not going to, I mean, we're not, we'll find a way to pay for the record that you're going to buy from us. But so so that's kind of, so we're excited, I mean, we're excited to do it and excited, like I said, to be in a more structured thing and have the people at Cleopatra behind you and the infrastructure, all that.
Well, dude, I'm looking forward to the new music and ready to rock it once it's available. And that sounds like that's going to be 25 and not looking too far off into the future, but come on, 2026, you got to be thinking about a little bit already and going, that'd be a nice 25th anniversary tour.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, and thank you for letting everybody know how old we are, Mike.
Yeah, of course. I'm just as old.
No, I'm kidding. I absolutely thinking about stuff like that. You know what I mean? And excited about what the future has. When it comes to the touring side of it, we played some exciting shows. This last tour with we were out with Josie Scott, and doing the thing with him, and then Trap was on that tour, but I hadn't known those guys very well, but well, being out with Josie, like Josie and I, back in the day, we had hung out many times and had some adventures when we were younger, and then we hadn't really seen each other for 20 years. I mean, he went off and did his acting and other stuff, and one of the nicest dudes you could ever meet. I don't know if you've ever interviewed him or not, but and we just had a lot of fun, and it was just like one of the easiest tours, and all the shows were great. We got to play Rockville at Daytona, you know what I mean, which was awesome. And so we're getting those kind of shows again. And we're going to play Louder Than Life in Kentucky, and then Aftershock up north here with on the same stage as Slayer, which is insane to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, so I mean, one of my favorite bands of all time, and one I thought we're not really like Slayer. We'll never play with Slayer. You know what I mean? Then they retire, and now we're 5 years later we're playing with them. So so those shows are coming and those tours are coming. So we're absolutely excited.
Well, dude, speaking of tours and big festival shows like that, welcome to Rockville. Great to watch all the video. But I got to admit, man, nothing was better than seeing each guy in the band and their shit-eating grin with their photo with Sebastian Bach, you included.
Oh, dude, I was the architect of that stuff.
Talk
Dude,
like meeting him.
Obviously my 16-year-old self, I'm a huge Skid Row fan. Over the years we had a manager that managed them with Doc McGee. But so I met the other guy. So I met the other guys in Skid Row, like Dave Sabo I've talked to the most, Snake, and Snake's helped us over the years, and that's another great story that I have about Dave. But so we're sitting there, we get done playing, and I know that Sebastian's playing, so I'm like, flag down the golf cart, take me over there. I'm like, I just left the dudes in the dust, and I went over there, and I'm on the side stage, and the crowd's huge, but it's kind of a faraway stage, so not a lot of bands. Well, no bands were really watching on the side stage, and so I'm standing there, and I'm 6'9", Sebastian's like 6'5", but his personality. He looks over at me, sees me watching, does one of the devil horn things, and I'm like, dude. And my 16-year-old self's like, Sebastian Bach just acknowledged me. Right. So then they get done playing. By then, Cole's our drummer and Dave has shown up. And so we're on the right side of the stage, but I know he's exiting left. And this is just a no-no. You don't accost people when they're coming off stage, dude. But I was like, in my mind, I was going, I don't think Sebastian would probably give a shit, right? You know what I mean? Like he did give me the double horns like 10 minutes ago. So I roll over to the left side of the stage, and he's walking off, and I go, dude, that was fucking amazing, dude. I can't believe it. And he goes, nobody's ever tired of hearing that, bro. And I'm like, thank you. I go, can I take a picture? And he's like, I can't believe I'm taking a picture with somebody shorter than me. And then, and then we're talking for a few minutes. Super nice guy. Wasn't acting like I got to get out of here at all, And then he asked what band we're in, and then like the next day he's following us all on Instagram and hitting us up, and oh yeah. So we were like, like I said, it was a bunch of dudes in a band like the next day on their phones going, dude, like we're 16, Sebastian's following us, dude. This is amazing.
I could see it in your guys' faces. It was classic. Just
That
that
was awesome.
just like, yeah. Now comes a tough one.
That, yeah.
You're a Skid Row fan. Album 1 versus 2, self-titled versus Slave to the Grind. If you had picked one of those two.
If I had to pick one, that's a tough one, but I would probably go Slave to the Grind. And people are gonna go, huh? But but no, dude. When that record came out, it seemed like everybody was going softer. And
Yeah.
and also to put it in context, I had seen them on tour. I was in high school still, and I had seen them on tour when Pantera, my favorite band, opened up for them. So
Right.
two of my favorite bands are touring, and you can tell and they come back, and I'm like, oh, they're tuned down, and oh, what is this? And so like especially like Monkey Business or something, you hear that
Yeah.
that was the first single, and you're like, okay, these guys are still dangerous. You know what I mean? So that was that's why I love that record. I love every song on both records, but if I had to pick one, probably be that one. Yeah, for sure.
I agree.
Lots of cool, amazing guitar riffs on that album too. So
Mudsticker and all that. Oh, some good
yeah,
cuts on there.
yeah,
And we should say too, Sebastian put out a killer new solo album recently, Child Within the
yeah.
past month or so. Great new record from him.
I heard the singles killer. Yeah, I mean, and his voice live amazing, of course. Like just like and he's always been able to work a crowd, and he's always had that like I don't know if it's super cool or it makes me laugh, but that headbutt that he does, man, like I like it's for real though. He's been doing it forever. He just grabs the microphone like just like it's for dear life, and then does that huge headbutt thing. I've
Although
always loved it. I mean, yeah. So yeah.
it's sad that he had to retire from headbanging though. He was doing the big whip hair banging.
Yeah, yeah.
Recently said he had to retire from that and the neck hurting a little bit
Yeah,
too much afterwards.
yeah. It looks like a car wreck every time. That's for sure.
We should include the dates that we're talking about, the upcoming shows you got in between writing sessions. Thursday, July 11th at the Whisky A Go Go. Saturday, July 13th, Parish Room inside House of Blues. And with the change and you handling all the vocals now, is there going to be a mix up in the set list? Because the set list was kind of the same for a while there.
It was exactly the same for a long time. That's part of it. I know that Ryan had kind of said that he only really kind of I don't know if the word's related or what or to the kind of our first two albums. So we were kind of beholden to that set plus the new music, of course. But we want to we're slowly going to bring in everything that we at least one song from everything that we've done and maybe more. You know what I mean? Like for instance, that like I mentioned, Planets, the title song of that. You know, and not to be talking inside baseball here, but it's like it's the most fourth string song we have. I mean, and so you're like, people like the song, dude. We need to play it. So like, and so we're gonna do that and add those songs and make sure that we're playing the songs people want to hear. I mean, there's songs on. Speaking of that, there's songs on there that are popular that were not singles. That I was like that surprised me, and so I'm like, we want to bring those and maybe some songs we've never played live into the
Yeah.
mix. So, and we're excited about that, that aspect of being able to kind of bring in and do whatever we want to do, and like even on this tour we played some one-off shows where we were just playing ourselves, and we literally just at sound check go, let's play that song. Cool. Rehearsed it one time and then play. You know what I mean? So it's cool to have that kind of flexibility.
Well, I'm looking forward to the mix up in the set list and maybe you bring in a different vocal style. I used to always beat up Ryan about playing like Drowning and Needles and some of the heavier end of things, which
Yeah.
he wasn't as familiar with, which I'm hoping I can talk you into now playing those.
Oh no, we used to play those songs, and I have sang those songs before. So yeah, those are, and that's kind of my range anyway. My range is let's hope that I don't suck, I guess, but I don't, but that people have noticed. They notice it's like it's probably somewhere a little bit of Marky in there just because of osmosis. You just are, you wrote the songs together. Those songs were you heard him sing them every night 100 times, and so I'm sure I have some of that in there,
Sure.
and probably sometimes I say it's like I sometimes I think my vocal style, and I'm sure I'll get in trouble for this one saying this shit out loud, but sometimes I feel like I feel like I'm John Davis imitating Marky Chavez. Sometimes, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like, but there's also some other my roots and probably like thrash metal and that kind of stuff too. It's whatever. It just is what it is, and I've gotten better definitely over the years and more confident. But and also it's like people are like, what's your warm up? You know, like it's always weird for me to sit around it, you know, because singers will get around each other. You know what I mean? And they start talking about stuff. And I still don't really feel I'm like in the singer club. You know what I mean? I just feel like I'm a guitar player who just happens to be singing, you know? And
Right.
so when they're talking about what's your warm up, you know, and what do you do? And they got all these fucking machines and you know, which I understand, dude. I get it. I'm not making fun of them, but they all have the machines. They all have the vapor thing. They have the teas and the routines and all this other stuff. And they go, "What's your warm up?" And I said, "My warm up was this. Hey guys, ready to play? All right." And then we
3, 2, 1.
here we go. You know, and so you know, that's where I'm at. When it comes to that, I still don't even believe I don't look at myself as a singer. So
Well, I think of you as
I'm sure that I can see Blubbermouth right now. Flucky doesn't look at himself as a singer, and the first comment's going to be, "He's not."
and it'll be from you.
Yeah, no, tell me.
Maybe I always appreciate all the time, man. Last thing I got for you, and we've been kind of touching on it, so this is the perfect question for you. We're an old school radio station. We do a feature called Mandatory Metallica every night at 10 p.m., which you're going to be a part of. And I've been having this Metallica debate, and I'm dying to get your pick on it. Debating their greatest
Yeah.
thrash metal album ever, which you kind of have to throw out Kill 'Em All because it's a lot of covers and stuff. So it kind of comes down to Ride the Lightning versus Master of Puppets. If you had to pick one out of those two, which one would it be?
If you're just saying what's the best thrash metal the album
From
they
them.
did, if we're
From
just
them.
it's Ride the Lightning. But Master of Puppets to me is Metallica's own new version of thrash metal. That was their defining. I mean, they're all defining, but that one defined the most of what Metallica was going to be to me. You know what I mean? Like what they were as a band, as far as just the meticulous song structure, or just and how they were going to be Metallica. You know what I mean? And go, because it's not a better. I'm not saying Red Lightning's a better record. I'm just saying if it's just thrash metal we're talking about. I mean, Red Lightning's a thrash metal record, crazy solos, different time changes, bunch of like 17 riffs a song. You
Sure.
know, where you look at like Master of Puppets and you go, well, let's put it this way: a 10-year-old kid right now can love the song Master of Puppets. You know what I mean? He's not going to necessarily go listen to Ride the Lightning or
Call it
like
Cthulhu.
an album song. Call It Cthulhu was cool, but just an album song off of that. You know what I mean? Where they're going to go, you know, it's not gonna, it doesn't have that same resonance. But as a thrash metal fan, because you know how thrash, I'm a thrash guy. Are you a thrash guy?
Of course.
Thrash guys, yeah. So thrash guys are just absolutely never bending, never. You know what I mean. They're just Once we think we know what it is, then that's what it is. You know what I mean?
Right.
And where a song like Master of Puppets, anybody can be in that song. I mean, but they made it so anybody could be into that song. It's an undeniable song. You know what I mean? So and it's theirs and something you never heard before. So that, but like I said, if I'm just going thrash metal, I'm doing that and or any Megadeth album or Exodus, or Nuclear Assault, whatever,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah. So, but yeah, you know how we are. I think I told the Uber guy today we were talking about thrash metal. It's funny you bring it up, and he talked about Def Leppard, and I go, "Oh, we listened to Def Leppard, bro. We just didn't tell them." You know,
You listened when you
I
had your
can,
girl in the car.
yeah, I can admit that now, but back then you wouldn't have caught me dead admitting that, you know what I mean? So, but I'm fine with it. They're good.
Yeah, dude, I think Right is a great album, great songs. I just hate the production. It just sounds like it was recorded in a bathroom to me.
Thrash metal.
Nah. But
That to me is part of my definition of thrash. It doesn't have to be yours. I'm not calling out your street cred. I'm just saying that's kind of where I'm at with it. Yeah. So
I just thought the songwriting was way better, and like Master of Puppets sounded better and was still brutally heavy, but then they could do something like Orion or Welcome
Oh,
to
it could be the greatest thrash metal of all time, but which now I'm contradicting myself. But still, I just look at it. I look at it as like, or maybe the greatest rock album of all time to me. Who knows? But when you go back and listen to everything on there, it is meticulous. It is perfect. The production's amazing, and oddly the same producer. But so it's just like, I don't know, but I just think that their songwriting took off there. But if we're talking about, I think of thrash metal like skinny little kids and black t-shirts with no sleeves and just being punk asses, and that's kind of, and not giving a shit what people here it is. You know what I mean? That's where, that's, I tell people too. Obviously, thrash metal to me derived from punk music, so it's like the same kind of attitude, just a different form, different, just a different media, that's, or whatever you want to call it,
dirty sweat
interpretation.
guys sweating it out in a garage, basically.
Yeah, totally. And that's what we all were that wanted to play music. That's how, because that's why anybody related to Metallica, and still to this day, is you're just like, oh, that guy looks like me. He's doing what I want to do. He's into the same music I'm into. Like, this is achievable. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't like a Def Leppard. I'm like, if you're looking at a Def Leppard, you want to be that. You're like, where do I get pants like that? I don't know. How do you get a stage with lasers? What I mean? It just, that wasn't. It was cool, but not attainable. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's, I think that was the allure, part of the allure of Metallica. And always will be.
So the big question, pick a Metallica song for us to play for you on Mandatory Metallica. What can we play for you?
Metallica song. That's a hard one, dude. Wow, that is such a hard one. How about Jump in the Fire?
Ooh, okay.
Let's do that one. Yeah, let's do that one.
Going back to Kill Them All.
Yeah, I like that. I like that riff, and I like the bridge, dude. I like the bridge in that song. It's just so simple, but it's you're just like, I'm over here Beavis in it here, but that that I just love that. I love the guitar solo in it. I love how they changed the bridge and the guitar solo a little bit. So yeah, that's a good one. The kids should know that one.
And dude, that's it. Thank you so much for the time, and have fun tonight out in Redlands.
Thanks, Mike. I appreciate you, man. I really appreciate you helping the band out. And like I said, anytime, man, just let me know, and you can always come to any show.
Yeah, I definitely will. I'm going to be at one of those. I just got to figure out my schedule, either the Whiskey or House of Blues one. I'll let you know for sure.
Awesome, man. I'm always here, dude. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Say hi to the guys for me tonight. Have a great show.
I will. Thanks, Mike.
See ya. Bye-bye.